Greetings, dear ones. It is Friday, the 23rd of October, and as we move into more the deeper parts of fall, um, it is amazing to me that despite the apparent deathing of trees and plants and flowers, or rather leaves and branches and plants and flowers, there is at the same time, I'm finding in my yard and around my neighborhood a burst of blossoming from all kinds of native or wild flowers, and even many of those that I planted, particularly for the bees and the butterflies. And I was able to enjoy both yesterday and today the amazing fog and its moisture and its blanket of silence and the mystical, magical um, feel of fog and the world when it is in fog. And that's a more accurate statement than one may realize. Many are in a fog, um, if not all of us, the fog of too muchness, the fog of what is true and what is not, as we attempt to discern between facts and misinformation scientifically, as far as actual occurrences, whether it's in relation to COVID, whether it's in relation to climate change, whether it's in relation to what's going on in different communities. Um, some countries around the world are also withholding information about, as many always have, about what is actually occurring in their country, whether it's in regard to um, elections or the virus itself or um, the protests that are going on and the sources of those protests and the numbers. So there is a lot of fog, so to speak, going on. And yet, when you center onto or focus in on the details of life, the details of what is occurring in this evolutionary process, there is so much growth, so much innovation, so much problem solving, um, through technology, through um, different science disciplines, specifically for whether it's one of the members of my personal and planetary redesign group came, was very felt into her plants. She's really been involved in and learning and um, growing and making tinctures and salves and all kinds of things, being led by the plants themselves and her own innate knowledge and guidance. And in through the course of that exploration, she was what came across her desk was a wonderful documentary on regenerative farming and how there is a way to have good yield and production without exhausting the soil and um, without utilizing huge amounts of fertilizer and for unnatural fertilizer and chemicals to um, kill that which is apparently attacking. So that's only one way. There are, again, a huge in Africa recently came across an article where, uh, again, the old way of farming is being blended with new innovations and even tourism to allow for grazing of cows and yet still allowing the land to recover rather than exhausting it from overgrazing. So that's just in relation to land, and I'm sure you could find 100 articles of this incorporation of new knowledge, new technology, new ways blended with old wisdom and old um, means of interacting with the earth. It's going on across the board. And World Economic Forum is a great source. Echo Watch is another good source of kind of, they're telling you more about the hotspots and the problems, but also innovations. A lot, Scientific American, there are so many different sources, Bloomberg Green, that will allow you to see the many blossoming and flowering of ideas and um, methods that will allow us to live on and with the earth in cooperation and collaboration, that it does not have to be based in resources that are unsustainable and that can be monetized. So there's all of that going on. So there's this great fog of overwhelm, and it's almost as if in this evolutionary process, we are being called to a stillness and within the fog to come down in and center on um, the earth and the ways of the earth. And all of those flowers that I mentioned, or not all of them, but many of them, were very, very small miniature flowers that go often unnoticed or come from ground cover that has been destroyed because it doesn't go along with the look of lawns. So keep your eyes out, allow yourself to see blossoming in all ways, despite the fog, despite the deathing or deconstruction and dismantling of old structures, institutions that served the industrial age but are no longer feasible in a higher consciousness society, which is what we're moving to, despite the appearances, or actually because of them. We each, in our own way, grow when and as the unhealthy, destructive patterns are revealed and kind of put in our face, whether it's by financial distress or a physical illness or relationship problems. These all cause those patterns to come to the foreground for change, for the potential for growth. And that's what's going on a larger scale. We're experiencing on the macro level what we replication of what we experienced on the micro level as children. It is revealing and bringing forward all of those wounds and traumas, not to repain us, PAIN, but to allow for the feelings of the experience of having that done very, very personally to us, so that each in our own way, as that is transformed, are transforming the larger um, collective. So we're in an exciting time, we're in a very difficult time, we're in a very intense time. We are in an extremely precarious time as well, because we have to make choices. And those choices are not always comfortable. It is not fun to wear masks all the time. It is very, very challenging to not be able to go and do and have fun and enjoy in the ways that we have been used to. It is incredibly difficult to feel and experience the economic impact, but there is a way. Again, this is about becoming more conscious, becoming more aware of the other. As children, our whole focus, our whole world surrounds us, and it appears to be very self centered and self focused, which it should be. That is part of the development of a child. It is part of the experience of a child. But when that is carried forward into adulthood, where we see people who don't want to wear masks because it infringes upon their freedom, and yet that is, again, that child coming forth. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it, and it doesn't matter who else it has any effect on. A child isn't supposed to take that into account, but adults, when they mature, as they mature, do. So there is so much going on. It is such a wonderful opportunity to come out of that selfish, self centered, self focused, me, um, way of being that we have been exploring, adopted, and explored for many, many kind of generations at this point. And this is the potential for a new way of growth of the individual, and thereby growth of, and when I mean growth, I mean maturing of the individual so that society matures. Um, and that's very, very difficult if you don't actually feel into what you're experiencing. It has been so easy, particularly at the pace of our world and the, or previous to COVID, the pace of our world, the many, many details and complexities, and it's so easy to numb out, to purchase things, to party, to, there's so many ways in which we numb ourselves or turn off the feelings and the emotions. Um, we're seeing that now with, the numbers of those that are sickened or have died or are hospitalized simply from the virus. That doesn't even count those that have been sickened or have died as a result of perhaps not being able to go to the doctor as they normally would have, are afraid to. There's many, many adjunct physical, detrimental physical effects of what's been going on besides the virus. But it allows us, when we see those numbers, it allows us to disconnect. It is very, very difficult if you are numbed out to be able to feel into all of the lives and the people that those lives touched. Associated Press is a long-standing, well-respected group of journalists who, and not, merely um, those that are on the news, they're out there really digging for the information and the facts, which is what journalism is. And they have had a running report every single day of taking, what someone's life that was lost to COVID and making it very real and very personal. I read one about an amazing coach in Hawaii who was preventing, young men from getting involved in um, drugs or gangs, and really working with them and fathering them. And he has recently passed. So these aren't just numbers. It's very, very easy when we see a tsunami coming in or a hurricane and so many people die or so many people lost their homes. And, oh, that's a shame. We feel a little bit, we send prayers, and then moments later we forget about it. And we cannot turn a blind eye, or better said, a numb feeling to our brothers and sisters, whether they are human brothers and sisters or whether they are nature brothers and sisters. We have seen devastating fires, and right now, in a few moments, I'm going to ask us to go into a particular energetic for and on behalf of the fires that will benefit us individually as well. And, you know, oh, so many homes were lost, people were evacuated. Right now, when we're being invited or asked to or need to stay in our homes, and these people have nowhere to return to, they have to go through this upcoming winter with the threat of COVID on top of everything else, and have no home to stay at home in. They have no home to feel sheltered and secure and safe um, from the winter itself, from whatever else is going on outside in the world, that you have your belongings around you, you have your um, ways of connecting and interacting with your family, whether it's over cooking or watching a movie together. And these people now have nothing, whether it's in California, Oregon, now Colorado, those in Louisiana. And, it's so easy to just say, oh, the fire, oh, what a shame, oh, oh, there's another 1,000 people that have died today from COVID. We cannot, we cannot stay disconnected and numb from that, or from what's happening to our earth. Our bodies, our energy fields are intricately, intimately, interdependently in relationship to the earth. And our bodies, our energy fields feel when that is out of balance. We experience that in our own health, in our own physicality. The fires are not simply something far away and happening to someone else. This is happening to us. The very fires within us, whether they're purifying fires, whether it is the fire of anger, whether it is then has the potential to change into the fire of passion. These are all part and parcel of who we are. And so when we drop into meditation in a couple minutes, it is not simply sending something to a distant situation or circumstance. This is being experienced, whether you're conscious of it or not, in your own system. It is being reflected in the emotional state of the collective around the world. There is anger and um, fiery protests and occurrences going on, there is a whole school of thought that, or belief or philosophy, that what the earth is experiencing because of what we're experiencing emotionally, psycho-emotionally, psycho-spiritually. And those of you who have children or pets absolutely know that what you experience internally, they will also not just feel, but they are intimately connected to us. And so they are experiencing it within their own bodies, within their own energy fields. And so it is and always comes back to the micro in order to modify, transform, transmute the macro. So as we drop into this meditation, I invite you to allow the fires within you, the element of fire that is within our own system. We have physically, we have organs and glands and systems that monitor and adjust the heat within us. We have our own furnace inside that adjusts to the cold. Um, it can be seen in many, many forms within the physical body. And of course, you are aware of the extent of the importance of water within our own bodies. And so we're going to bring forward the element of water in all its many forms as we're holding the element of fire, or recognizing or allowing to experience, allowing ourselves to experience the fire within. It's very, very easy, again, in our world, news, politics, etc., brings forward that fire, that anger that has been sitting inside our systems since we were very small and we're unable to do anything with it, express it. More often than not, having to shut it down, hide it, put it away somewhere within our bodies because it was not able to be expressed. So all of that must come forward, and in particular the levels or frequency of the detrimental effects or destructive effects in the first and second chakras. Anger about not being safe, anger about our security being threatened constantly at this point in time. And for most children, it felt like that. We so underestimate the experience of children and how they see the world. And it doesn't take a great deal, even in the best of homes. It doesn't take a great deal for a child to feel very scared and to feel very insecure with what their parents are doing or not doing, and therefore how it will endanger their very lives. They know that they cannot live by themselves. They cannot make it without their parents and are entirely dependent upon people who are making choices that are not in their best and highest interest. And again, certainly we see that in so many institutions and governmental figures and religious leaders and corporations, all of those that are taking the position of authority for us as a collective and replicating the authority that we felt, or the authority figures that we experienced as children in our parents. So again, I would invite you, despite all that's going on and all of the deconstruction and all of the deathing of many, many old ways that no longer serve in our world, we see the reflection in nature of so much dying off. And yet, if you look at the smaller, at the micro, there is blossoming, there is growth, there is preparation for new growth. And so I invite you to feel into those places within that we may not be in touch with or aware of, that are preparing, that are blossoming, that are growing, allowing for our own personal evolution and the evolution of the collective. And right now, it's being presented with a lot of fire and water. And there are many aspects, helpers in nature that are here for us today, besides the elements. So I invite you to just settle into your chair. If you can, to try to find your sits bones, which are in the very, very center of each of your buttocks cheeks. And just slide your shoulder blades. Those are often referred to as your wings, or those triangular shaped bones in your back, upper back. Just allow them to slide down and a little bit come together without pushing, without efforting, but allowing that positioning to happen as you're sitting on your sits bones, so that you do not have to hold yourself up, and in fact allowing your skeletal structure to do just that, so that you are able to drop in very, very deeply as the transmission comes through, not having to in any way, shape, or form utilize your brain or your visioning or your thinking. You need not even follow my words. I am speaking in this format to allow your system to know that I'm still here, and the recording or the transmission electronically has not fallen away. So allow yourself to just allow your breath to breathe you. There's no particular way, no particular form of breathing that you must adhere to or follow. Simply allowing, simply noticing, simply feeling the breath moving in whatever way it is doing so at this point in time. And as you continue to notice and feel and sensate, oftentimes it helps clients and those that work in groups with me to say to yourself or out loud, I am asking and I am allowing my body. I am asking and I am allowing my energy field. I am asking and I am allowing my wider self, my soul self. I am asking and I am allowing my guides and teachers and masters. I am asking and I am allowing all parts of me, all times of me, to assist me, to guide me, to lead me down and in to me, allowing my inner world and outer world to be bridged, allowing me to drop down and into my inner verse. For it is there, you need not say this, for it is there that my truth lies. Therein is the essence of me. Therein I access my inner wisdom, my innate knowing, my internal compass. This will always guide you and lead you to your very highest and best. It will never, ever, ever, ever lead you to harm or steer you wrong. The mind can and will, because the defense system exists in the mind. The heart may lead you astray because there is still the longing and yearning of the child. Even when it is within something harmful, that desire does not cease until and unless it is transformed and meets the internal knowing of what is true. And so I invite you to simply ask and allow the element of fire that is one of the four basic building blocks of this universe. To be acknowledged, recognized, valued, appreciated, respected. In both its destructiveness and harmfulness, as well as its amazing ability to create and bring warmth and so very much that helps us. And I invite you to allow the element of water, so very vital to our life, to every life form on this planet, to our bodies made up of such a high percentage of water. The very cells must exist in with water. The more acutely you are able to connect with and feel the fire and water within you, the more you are able to connect with and feel the fire and water expressed in our emotional state, the more we are able to connect to, recognize, and feel the element of water in nature. And the soothing response of water to fire when it has become destructive. So as you allow your energy field and wider self and guides and teachers and masters to lead you, guide you further internally, I invite you to experience the many forms of water that I will name, allowing whichever one or ones resonate most with your system right now, allowing that form to fill you and be experienced by you. And in this way, you are actually uniting with and transmitting the form of water that most aligns with and reflects your individual system at this moment in time, enabling you to send, transmit your individual impression of water, felt impression of water, to the fires in Colorado. Along with that, we have a huge surge of magical energy coming forward the last couple few days. And by magical, simply meaning that solutions or responses beyond your imagining, which can occur in an unexpectedly rapid space of time. As of now, they're expecting snow on Sunday, but there is every possibility that as you transmit the element of water in your particular resonant form today, there is no reason that that snow cannot occur much sooner, even if that is what is beyond the expectations of the weathermen and science. So if it feels right for you to sensate the element of water in the form of snow, those of you who enjoy the activities of snow, the quiet of snow, the falling of snow, or perhaps for you it is the sound of a babbling brook, or the crash of waves in the form of ocean. Perhaps it is the tranquil surface of a lake, or of the rushing speed of falling water and waterfalls. Perhaps it is that mystical, mysterious sense that fog brings. Or mist that's created from a hot surface as a summer rain falls. Perhaps it is the smell of rain, spring rain. Perhaps it is the fascinating life of a bog. All that goes on in an apparently still place. Perhaps it is the sense of magic in a rainbow within a puddle. Perhaps in a dewdrop hanging from a blade of grass. Perhaps in the changing currents of a powerful river, such as the Delaware or Mississippi. So many others around the world. Perhaps it is in the power and majesty of great glaciers, ice, perhaps it is the sound of rain beating upon the roof or window, lulling you to sleep. Perhaps the steam that's created from a hot shower on a chilly day. And as you feel, sensate any one or ones of these forms of water. Recognizing, acknowledging, feeling, sensating your unique individual connection, collaboration, and cooperation with that form of water at this moment in time. You are powerfully transmitting to the fires in Colorado, the fires that are occurring around the world, Amazon, Siberia, so many places. You are transmitting that element emotionally to soothe and ease the fires emotionally, erupting around our country and the world. And allowing yourself to sink down and level deeper into the form or forms of water that you resonate with and feel in you today. Clearing, cleansing, refreshing your very own body, bodies, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Refreshing, cooling, flowing, soothing. Nothing you need do, simply allow, simply experience, simply sensate. integrating and incorporating, consolidating energetics are transmitted. Nothing you need do. Simply allow, simply experience, simply sensate whatever you are experiencing without doing, without pushing, without forcing. Simply allow the organic, very unique to you manner in which your energy field guides you, leads you from a less physical state back to a more physical state. And when and as you're ready, I invite you to have some water and to continue to drink lots of water today. Not only to benefit your body, but there was more cleansing and clearing than you may know in that meditation. So you do want to flush your system, as well as every time you drink water throughout the day, giving gratitude and appreciation and honoring and sending with that experience of water to the fires. Salud. And just a reminder, next week is the last soul election group. For those of you who really would like to imprint and implant into the foundational matrix that underlies this reality, your desires, your wishes, your dreams for a future way of being, in particular with the point in time of the actual election, please contact me. That is donation only, and a large percentage is going to be going to indigenous tribes here in the United States and in Brazil, actually also Guatemala. And for the first time since the spring or March, the first in-person event I have held will be on November 1st in the evening, 7 o'clock. Actually, it may be moved up to 6 so that we can catch some of the daylight as well. It will be outside with masks and socially distanced, and we are going to be accessing not only the 4 elements but the ancestors, doing ceremony and deep in a deep process for you personally and for the planet. So please contact me and look on Healers Universe page for events. It gives you a better description. And always, the Facebook Fridays, those of you who can join and join in, this will be changing format a little bit in that as there's more participation, the process of meditation will change a little bit. So, as always, it is with my deep honor, gratitude, and love. And you are welcome to listen to this meditation as frequently as you desire for your own body, for your um, personal world, and for the planetary world. So thank you again, and be well in all ways.